so here's the deal. This is the last week. Here's the task list, basically for the rest of the semester, right? So not just this week. Um, and I try to make like little slide things. So here we'll see if it works, right? Free. Boom. First thing, you have a discussion post. Okay, so you want to go to the discussion post for week 7. It's very basic. You just are basically going to write 4 sentences. One is your thesis statement for this current essay number 4, which is all about the changing narrative. And then you want 3 topic sentences. Okay, so 3 different areas that you're going to deal with. And I can show you what those are. And it might be 4, depending on what you're going to do. That's the first thing. Okay, the other thing, you're trying to have a rough draft of essay 4 turned in today by midnight or something like that. So that's the goal. The other thing that we're going to do is a peer review. So what's basically going to happen is when people turn in a rough draft, I'm going to pair them with someone else who's turned in a rough draft. And what that means is I will send you an email with your partner's email address, copies of the essay, and a copy of the peer review sheet. So your job will be to read their essay, fill out the review sheet, send them a copy of it via email, and then post a copy to Blackboard. So that's what the peer review will be. And again, like I said, right, the goal is to have it done by Wednesday night or tonight by midnight. But if you need more time, take more time, because people, I know everybody's busy. You got tons of things that are coming down. So this is the goal, right? So there's very few rules here that are not changeable. So I want, shoot it for it. Otherwise, turn it in as soon as you can. That's the goal, actually. Okay, so here's the theory. So the final draft then will be due on Tuesday, May 5th at 6 o'clock. This is because we are supposed to submit our final, whatever it is, during the time of our assigned final exam. And I think that's the time of our assigned final exam. It's Tuesday, May 5th at 6 o'clock. So, final draft of essay number 4. And I have more specifics about what that exactly is. There's another thing that's going to be due at that same time, which I'm calling the final research project. All that is you combining basically all the things we've done. Okay? You get a title page for the whole research paper. You do a title page and you put your literature review essay, which is the previous essay, in there. You put in the essay number 4 final draft, which you've done. The only thing you might need to do is an abstract, which is a brief summary of what your argument essay is going to be about. But basically, you're putting this all into one document. That's what that's about. So you're taking everything you've done, you're putting all this in this order, and then you're submitting it. So that's what the final research project is, right? So, okay, here's the important thing. So anything and everything that you want to have counted towards your grade absolutely must be submitted by May 9th, which is, what day is it, Saturday? Yeah, so it's Saturday, May 9th. I should have put Saturday there, but I didn't. That's like when all final exams have ended, right? So grades are due, I think, 24 hours or 48 hours after that, or 30, I don't remember. 2 days after that, I think. So I have to have grades in by May 11th. I can't take any more assignments after that time, right? So no matter what, all work needs to be in by then, or any work that you want counted for your final grade needs to be in by that Saturday. Okay, so here's the basics of the week. Discussion board. You're going to post four sentences, a thesis statement plus 3 topic sentences. Your thesis statement for essay number 4, and remember, this is all about the changing narrative. And so I've divided it up into these 4 elements here. So you could actually just divide your essay into these 4 elements. Meaning you're going to talk about what causes the change, like what are the things that drives the change from the traditional narrative into the newer narrative. Once it's established, what are the new elements of this new narrative? And what old elements sort of disappear or whatever. How is it spread, the new narrative? and what are the consequences of the new narrative, right? So that's essentially essay 4. And then, like I said, rough draft is supposed to be due Wednesday, 11:59. But as they are turned in, whenever they're turned in, I am going to partner people up, and then I will email your partner's email and essay and a peer review sheet. You read the essay, complete the peer review, send a copy of the essay and the peer review to your partner, right? So they send you an essay, you read it, you might mark some stuff up, and then you also fill out the sheet, send it to them, and then you also post it to writing and peer review. That's the assignment. And then I have various links everywhere for the sheet. And then, right, so Friday, right, in 2 days is the last class. So I will be here from 8 to 10, again, doing a live sort of broadcasting, but mostly helping people, whatever problems you're having. But that's going to be the last class that I'm going to broadcast. So you want to, if you need to stop by, that's the time to do it. Okay, and then, so Sunday, it's so useless. So Sunday, this Sunday, right, May 3rd, by midnight, the things that are actually due are the discussion post, and then the peer review. Your hope is to get the peer review done and sent back, and so the person has it. Then on Tuesday, which is only 2 days later, you're supposed to have these two things done: the final draft of the essay, the final research project, right, which is you just putting the essays together in a single document. Again, I know that that's a short turnaround time, right? I'm hoping to give feedback as the rough drafts come in, so I can read them and give feedback on what you want to fix and change as they show up. So instead of me just waiting for them, so that hopefully you'll get feedback earlier rather than later. Then again, like I said, the big point, or the big thing that can't really be changed, is that everything needs to be in by the 9th. That's when all things are done. This is just APA format, right? So on the actual class notes page, I have these pictures there, and you click on them and they go to full size. So you want to make sure that's your title page, right? There's the abstract page. I think I just put in one regular body page just to make sure, like, here's how you cite things, which most people already know. And then you have a reference page, what it looks like. That's all that's for. Okay, so that's the big deal. So the final draft of Essay 4, due Tuesday, May 5th by 6. Here's what it needs to be. So just this final draft of the Essay 4, you're looking for 5 to 6 pages, plus a title page, plus a reference page. You're using 6 to 8 sources minimum. You need to have in there your primary source, right, and your 2 secondary sources, which is what we worked on last week. So you need to have those, and you need to be using those in your essay, and they're obviously on your reference sheet too. And then this is just a reminder of what this essay is about, right? It's all about the changing narrative, what causes it, what the elements are, how it's spread, and what the consequences. And then again, repeating what the final research project is, which is just putting everything into a single document and then submitting that. So you got a title page, you got the literature review, abstract, research, the essay, reference page. Okay, the annotated bibliography can just be the one that you already did for the past assignment. So you don't need to do a new annotated bibliography. I realize that, since that time, people have found much better sources and maybe didn't even use the annotated bibliography. Don't worry about it, just attach it, right? Because basically it's like these are all the skills that we were meant to sort of practice and work on and improve over the semester, right? These are the main essays and APA and annotated bibliography. So you're basically putting all this stuff together, and then you have this portfolio of this work. And again, all coursework by May 9th, Saturday at 6 o'clock. I need it. There's no way for me to extend that date. So that's the important thing, right? If you don't have your final draft by Tuesday, right, you can just turn it in as soon as you have it. That's perfectly fine. But the absolute close, like the end times date, is May 9th at 6. Discussion post. Boom, boom. Right, and then there's a copy of the peer review, but I don't, yeah. And it's, I believe it's similar to one we've done before. It's a lot of you identifying elements. Does this essay have these things? You're checking yes or no. Um, you're basically trying to make sure that the person's essay, this essay, needs to be about the change and the new narrative. You can mention, someone asks, you can mention the old narrative at the very beginning, like in your introduction, be like, here's how it was, briefly, and then you're sort of moving on. So my example for the introduction here, well, first I would still need to find that. The brief story, I'm looking for people just to tell a real story that exists, but something that would really demonstrate a change that has happened, right? So someone gives a speech, or some event happens. Like for me, talking about other ways people can succeed in America, I might come up with some statistics about YouTube and how much money people on YouTube are making, and how like it requires no college at all really, and so that's a whole area where people can be successful and not go to college or something, right? I might just showcase one person, one of the famous ones who's making millions of dollars. Anyway, some sort of anecdote. You want it to demonstrate how things have changed from whatever the old narrative is. And then the way you're connecting this to the narrative paradigm, again, you're just talking about the event as a story. So everyone knows the story. America's a land of opportunity. So this is me setting up the old narrative, or just describing what the old narrative is and talking about it like a story. So one of the main plots in the American Dream narrative is the idea that college education is essential in order to obtain true success and wealth. College education separated the educated from everyone else. A degree from a college signaled to others that you were an intelligent, thoughtful, and mature contributor to society, and soon after graduating, you would be offered a full-time job, which you would have for 25 or 30 years until you retired. That is the traditional narrative of higher education in America. When this narrative is examined through Walter Fisher's, it becomes clear that major changes in the story of higher education have everything to do with technological advances. So then I'm going to create an actual thesis statement that sets out the things that I'm going to talk about, right? I'm going to say it has changed, technology has changed it, and I'm going to try to name the three main areas that I'm going to talk about, or four. I mean, because if you do this, if you just be like, here's the causes, what are the cause and the driver of the change, like what makes the change happen, what are the new elements that show up, and how is the newer narrative spread and consequences. The whole game is just to be able to keep using the language of story and narrative, right? So I will talk about setting. I will say, okay, in the older setting, right, was a college campus. Everybody had to go there in order to get a college education. These days, because of technology, like these specific technologies, which I'll name, you can get a degree online. You can take classes online. You don't even need a setting. You can be in your bedroom or whatever. So that's an example of what I would be talking about. Okay, so that's those things. Okay, so I would say right now, if you're going to hang out or get stuff done, the thing to get done would be just get the discussion post out of the way. Try to get your rough draft, if you need to work on that. But again, it is better. I'd rather have people hold off turning in their rough draft if it's really short. Like if you have a page, that's not really going to do anybody any good, right? So I would rather that you turn it in later if you can make it longer. That's essentially the idea, right? So if you can make it longer and more worthwhile, turn it in, as soon as you can, right? Basically, again, once you turn it in, I will pair you up and you can do the peer review. So I'm not really, waiting for everyone to turn them all in and then pair them up. I'm just going to do it as on a roll.